raffling out two $25 gift cards. Please ensure you enter by going into URL bit.ly/UORSB webinar. Ensure you include your full name in the name field and email address in the question field. You may also use this at the very end to ask any questions you may have. At this time, I would like to introduce you to our School Business Dean, Tom Horan.
Greetings, thank you for joining us this evening. We're really thrilled that you've been able to take time out to learn more about the School of Business. I'd like to spend a few minutes just giving you an overview and then turn it over to my colleagues to give you various perspectives on the school. First, by way of background, I joined as Dean in July of 2017, and it's just been my delight to work with my colleagues to advance the school, grow new programs, and so forth. Since joining, I've learned a lot about the school, and I want to tell you what I learned, and I think it's quite impressive. First, we are a Southern California business school. That is, while our main campus is here in Redlands and is very important to us, we have 6 other regional campuses that have business school classes and are a vital part, all the way south from San Diego to Burbank and many places in between. So while our class sizes are small, which is really the defining feature of us, our scale is pretty large. We have 1,500 students, about 1,000 of them are graduate students, and that's really the focus of tonight. And 90% are working while they're doing their degree, taking classes at night. A full 50% get promoted while they're in the program, and 85% believe they'll be promoted or get a new opportunity within 3 years. So we're really proud of those statistics. We think it shows our commitment to advancing the professional careers of our students, and it's no surprise to us that 95% would recommend the school to friends or colleagues. And so it's on that kind of foundation that we're built. We recently received accreditation from ACBSP, which is the business school accreditation firm, and received high marks across all 6 of their criteria. We kind of knew we were that good, but it's always good to get accolades from the accreditors. We have a number of key elements that we feature in the school. We've talked recently about 21st century business skills and how important we think these skills are to succeed in business, and many of our classes integrate that kind of learning in what we do. We have a capstone course that brings everything together towards the end. We have study abroad opportunities, which often when people are done say it's a very meaningful part. So in short, we have a very robust program available in 7 different locations, and go to the one nearest you. I'm advised here that we welcome your questions. Please submit them using the question URL we provided, correct?
Yes. Okay.
So please do that when you get a chance. Now I'd like to just give you a sense of the panel that we have here on my right and my left. So I think we'll start first with some of our faculty members. Cindy Zhao on my left here is a full-time faculty member. She'll be introducing herself in a second. And Brian Kerberwitz, an adjunct faculty member, will then speak. We'll then move to some of our graduate students. We have an MBA graduate student, Manuel Martinez. Are you there? There you are. And so he was also our 2017 commencement speaker. And so he'll be speaking. Oh, and you've graduated, is that right?
Yep.
And so then we'll move to a current MBA student, Shane McCoy, who'll be sharing his perspective. And last but not least, certainly, we'll have Rachel Gonzalez, who started off as undergraduate, now is a graduate student, will be a graduate student with us starting in January. That's our cast of characters, and we're really excited to be able to spend this time with you. So with that, why don't I first start with you? Introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Cindy Zhao. I have been a faculty member here at School Business for over a decade. Originally, I was born and raised in China, and I finished my undergrad in 1999. And after working in an import-export company for a year, I see the opportunities outside. So that's where I started to apply for higher education in the US. In 2000, I came to the US, finishing my master, my PhD in North Carolina, where I spent 6 years. Shortly after that, I joined the faculty here at School of Business, and I'm also currently the undergraduate program directors. So when people ask me, why did you join University of Redlands? The short answer is, I see the value that it provides to the community, which I will elaborate more later on. But I do believe what we're doing at School of Business at University of Redlands, which is beneficial to our wider community, and I want to be part of it. Thank you.
Great. Why don't we go ahead?
Yes, I'm Brian Kirby-White. I am a professor of law, ethics, and leadership. I teach mostly in San Diego, at Temecula and Orange County, and I actually started teaching at the School of Business in 2003. And where I want to come from really is just my love of teaching. And I think all of the professors that I've ever encountered at the school, we all love to teach. And I think for me, that's, to me, the essence of the student experience is. I've had the privilege of teaching other schools as well, and what I've noticed about Redlands is that there is an interaction between the teacher and the students and each other that makes it really enjoyable to get an education here, to come to class and to learn. It's just, to me, it's just a privilege to be able to interact with people who really want to be educated at a higher level, who are working and who can bring real world experience to the classroom. I think you can probably relate with me on that. And so what happens in the classroom, if I can speak just a moment about that, is we're able to actually do a lot of critical thinking and problem solving and bring communication skills and leadership skills that I think are immediately applicable every day from class on, and then we keep building on that. I'm also an attorney by trade, so when I teach the law and ethics courses, I'll bring in contemporary cases and events, and we can hash things out and get really into detail and talk about the nature of law. I also own a leadership seminar company, and I do leadership seminars with Fortune 100 companies, and so I'm able to bring some of that expertise to the management environment as well. And so I guess my message is just that I think there is a very real world element to the education. In addition to superior academics, with the accreditation that we have, there's a practical aspect that I think is very valuable. And it's a lot of fun, let me leave it at that.
I bet you're a lot of fun, Instructor, I can tell. Manuel, would you like to add to this conversation?
So I'll go into 3 parts: my experience, Redlands, and my career. I am the 2017 commencement speaker. So as I tell my experience should be viewed through the lens of the other people that I had in class. So the success that I had, or the different parts that I was voted into, were because of the people that I had in my cohort. So I was very fortunate. I was the 2017 commencement speaker. I was voted into the Whitehead Leadership Society. I was the class CEO. All these things happened because the other people that were in my cohort, the ones who helped me out, and if you hear my speech, I said they lifted me up. As we're in class, as the MBA classes aren't easy, so you do get a lot of real world experience. They were able to kind of come alongside of us, each one of us with their strengths. So we helped each other out. I took some of my finals back into my work, and they became things that at my previous job we instituted. So my previous employer actually benefited from my MBA because I was able to take some of the needs and analysis and things that they needed and applied them immediately with the expertise of one person had a CPA, one person was a controller, and other people's understanding of business, and applied it to where I work. My overall experience at Redlands was incredible. I'm now the senior manager of business planning and systems for a company called S Bravo, which is a position that I recently came into, 5 months, and I know that my MBA was what helped me to get that position. My previous employer was great, but there was a point in position where I had to decide where am I going to go and what's going to be the future for me. My MBA was what helped me to get to that next level. Now, it wasn't a give me. It wasn't just one of those easy things. I have an MBA and that's going to open up doors. I had to go out there and I had to prove what I knew. And now at my new position, I'm in charge of many departments, and my MBA is what gave me the view to see all the different areas. So Redlands helped me to grow personally and also grow with my intellect so that I could position myself into different parts. So I can't tell you how great Redlands has been for me, and my MBA has opened up definitely doors for me.
Great, thank you. Shane?
Yes, my name is Shane McCoy. I'm a current MBA student. I'm working towards an emphasis in finance. I'm set to graduate in August. I'm also the CEO of my cohort, and I'm going to be inducted into the Whitehead Leadership Society. And just as the gentleman said, it is definitely a team effort. It's a collective effort for everyone to succeed in your cohort. You can't be an island when you come here. You have to work together. A little bit about my background. I was in the military for 10 years, and then I worked in law enforcement for 12 years. And at that point, I decided I wanted to take my life in a new direction and seek a career in wealth management. So I reached out to the University of Redlands and potential employers and University of Redlands alumni, and they had nothing but positive things to say about the graduate program. And it's definitely exposed me to a plethora of business concepts, which hopefully I'll be able to apply. I know I'll be able to apply in my future career. And I can say it looks wonderful on a resume. I've started to reach out to potential employers, and they really like the MBA program here, those that are familiar with it.
Great. Rachel?
Hi, my name is Rochelle Gonzalez, and I am currently enrolled in the MBA program at the Riverside campus. I am in my first class starting, so a lot to go through.
Well, that's perfect, just the way it is.
Yeah.
Just before.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
can you repeat your introduction? We were having an audio issue. I apologize.
My name is Rochelle Gonzalez. I am currently enrolled in the MBA program here at the University of Redlands, and I'm a recent graduate also from the University of Redlands with my Bachelor's of Science in Management.
Great, thank you. Just before we turn to questions, if I could just add a couple of words. So since coming on as Dean, I've been doing surveys and focus groups and going out and meeting students, and I thought I would share some of the things I've been hearing about why Redlands, particularly why Redlands as compared to many choices that are out there. For many students who know about Redlands is the reputation of the University of Redlands. It's been a private liberal arts college, non-profit, traditional since 1907, so it has that history to it and that foundation. And the business education has been going on for 40 years. So it's not just starting yesterday. It really is a strong tradition in business education. A second aspect, which follows from the first, is we now have just about 30,000 alums. So we have a very strong alumni network, which is really, a professional school, you're not only buying into the school, you're buying into the network of the school. And we have a very, very strong network. A third, which you heard from some of my colleagues, is getting a professional degree, a graduate degree, and particularly at Redlands, it's not like you're in some lecture hall looking at a bunch of PowerPoints. It is interactive, it's around the table, it's with fellow students who are also working, taking these business concepts, and really talking about how they apply to one's job today, tomorrow, and so forth. So that's a key part. Then when I talk to students who've been are kind of on the tail end, you're hearing it a bit here, it's how they've been able to integrate those different classes into, I think you called it a broad view, you know, a management view, and see that that broad view combined with, you know, technical depth gives them the leg up that many want to advance. And a lot of times when we talk to alumni, they were at this spot, they wanted to get to that spot, and they saw getting a graduate degree to be the necessary ingredient. So when I visit those classes, and I'm sure you've experienced it, it's not a bunch of people goofing around. They're there on a Monday night or a Tuesday night, on a Wednesday night, to really be focused on the content and the conversations. That gives it, I think, a really deliberate feel. Not to say there isn't fun and you know some professors have a sense of humor and but I think it's a very focused group and one that we're very proud of. So I just thought I would put out those touch points that I've experienced. I don't know if that resonates with the panel, but those are the kinds of things that certainly I've heard about.
Yeah, I'd like to add maybe one piece on that. So I remember in class one time we were talking about the three essential skills you want to come away with in a business education, and I just kind of grouped them in three categories: technical skills, relationship skills, and conceptual skills. And I think maybe to kind of take on what you're saying, this broad view of being able to see in a managerial context, where do we need to put attention, where do we need to let people do their thing, delegate, where do we need to put it, if I repeat myself, forgive me, but put attention, and I think that broad view, having multiple layers of skills is what allows you to really shine, if that makes sense.
It does. Makes 21st century sense.
Yeah.
Are we ready for questions?
Yeah, thank you, panel. At this time, we do have some questions from our online audience. The first question is, what is a CEO and what is WLS? Anybody want to take
Well, WLS is easy to. Why don't you?
WLS is Whitehead Leadership Society.
Right.
So your cohorts, the people in your group, vote you in. You can vote for a person who's exemplified different leaderships and helpfulness. And honestly, for me, I think was voted in because I was the one who was wondering where people were at, if they needed help with something. I knew that we were all working adults, and I happened to be the one that had taken the time to get their phone numbers. And when it came time to be voted in, they said, I guess I was the most helpful.
Yeah, so let me answer it in a slightly more general way. What we try and do in our classes is provide leadership opportunities all the way from when somebody starts as a student, on through being a student, on through being an alumni. And we see this building leadership skills as a part of business education. Now, this can also be leadership with a little L. It's not out there standing in the middle of the yard yelling kind of leadership. And so cohorts or classes which started at the same time, they'll elect somebody to be kind of their representative. And that's called being the CEO. And the CEO is really our go-to person. And we have 1,000 graduate students. So who are the 30 people that we can go to, both to get feedback about how things are going from students, as well as to communicate about new ideas and developments. So it really is the student leadership of the classes, available to all and so on. Many of those CEOs become candidates for the Whitehead Leadership Society, which is another society where we recognize leadership. We'll be introducing new societies, new opportunities to engage in leadership through our
Actually, we could start
Sure.
at the beginning.
Okay.
My name is Shane. No.
So I chose University of Redlands after speaking with potential employers and former graduates, and they gave me a good insight as to the whole, the holistic business education that you're going to receive as an MBA student. Not only are you going to learn management theories and philosophies, but also, in my situation where I want to work in wealth management, you're taught a lot of different financial theories, and you're exposed to different aspects of finance. And I learned just from being out in the community here and speaking with people that University of Redlands has a great reputation, and they look to hire the graduates from here.
Perfect, thank you. And another question actually for one of our alumni students is, how many days of the week did you attend class, and for how many hours?
Usually you attend class, for the master's I believe there's at least 4 hours. You attend class once a week, and there are some Saturdays where you will be spending majority of your Saturday in class because it's an every other weekend. But it's really just 1 day a week that you will be in class, but that doesn't mean you won't have homework outside of class. You will have to rely a lot on, if you have a significant other or family members, if you have children, to possibly help you with either getting them to games, practice, just so you can get some homework done. It really is, it takes a lot on your family, but it's good in the long run. My kids, helped me a lot when it came to completing my bachelor's degree, and my husband, they all understood that I needed to get my homework done. I had class once a week, so I designated times throughout the week that I was going to dedicate to homework and dedicate to my children to balance it all out. But you will spend spend 1 day a week in class, and of course your outside work and meeting with your classmates to get projects done on the side. So it just depends on where you're at in your program. But
you will have a 2-year commitment. This is not, I'm just gonna go 1 day a week. Yeah, I'll do a little bit of homework. No, this is 1 day a week with 2 years of, I get out of class on this day, the following day I start doing homework or reading, homework, and then if you have Saturday school, it's every other week. You will have 2 weeks worth of homework. This is not a grade where you just, as long as I show up. This is an interactive understanding, and you apply what you learn. 2 years.
It's worth noting the classes are 8 weeks long.
yes.
So it's not like, hey, let's get to know each other for 3 weeks, and then, it's getting right to it over an 8-week period. And I think that for people who are working, the general, as I understand it, recommendation is to take 1 class at a time in order to do well and work lockstep through it.
Yes.
Some double up, but that's a tough road to hoe if you're working and doubling up, which is we take 2 classes.
I spend about 30 hours a week studying, and I meet with 2 of my classmates almost every Saturday to go over concepts for about 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Just to
I do want to add that we recently rolled out our online MBA program. So we have been hearing from our students that some of the, once a week schedule doesn't even fit into their personal life or professional life. So they want more flexibility. So, after really discussion, designing, owning that process. So last year we finally rolled out our online MBA program, which should provide another opportunity, another alternative to students who are bound with their time limit, that they try to fit that into their different schedule, than the ones that can work for them for the on-ground.
Yeah, I would say that we're just getting started there. I think the great majority of students come to the classes because they can at one of the campuses and value that. We wanted to open up the online option for those. Sometimes it's a working mother or somebody whose night shift working, it just doesn't jive with our schedule, and we wanted to provide that as an opportunity for those kinds of students who are kind of in one way or another constrained from the 1 night a week, which is just the typical way to go.
Perfect, thank you. Next question is, can you please describe the emphasis courses are offered within the MBA program, and which ones do we offer?
This is an enrollment question. This is advanced credit on the enrollment side. So we have several. I should open my computer and read them. And each one plays 4 courses. There's marketing, there's GIS for business, I think there's finance, global and finance, I think of those.
Those are the 4 emphases.
Right.
And in each emphasis area, we have 4 specialized courses for that subject. In terms of marketing, which I normally teach, we have marketing management, we have global marketing, we have marketing strategy, and we also have marketing analytics.
Right. And each of the other ones have that 4-course sequence.
Perfect, thank you.
We passed.
You passed, flying colors. Can you discuss the study abroad program, and where do you travel typically?
I'll take first shot. You do?
Yeah, I will add on.
Okay. So we offer several, like up to 8 a year, I think. It typically, we go for 2 weeks because our students are working, so they can't take a month. So we pack it into 2 weeks. Some of the regular ones include Italy. That's always very popular. Our oldest is Cambridge and London. In fact, that's going in March. We have some to Asia. I don't know if you want to comment on those. And, right, we have we just had Vietnam and Thailand in Asia. And 2 years ago, we had a Mediterranean cruise one. I'm sorry I missed out on that one. But I hear it's coming back, which is study aboard, which is another one. Is that?
Yeah, I think you covered most of them. I want to say, first of all, that our study abroad program is really one of the highlights in our school business offering. I haven't seen, other schools of our size that could offer so many different alternatives in terms of study abroad. I'm sure, Michael McQueen, our international program director, would be able to tell you more, but I was once a faculty leader for one of the study abroad programs to Asia, to Japan and China. But as you could tell from Tom's description, that we are actually changing the offerings each year. We don't offer the static choices year after year, but we do have some of our staple programs like the Cambridge one, excuse me, that we have been offering for the last, more than a decade. But then the other courses are all depending on the demand, depending on the, of course, demand from students, depending on what we see as a nice addition to what we have so far, and also depending on the faculty members' availability and their interest. But we do hear from our students what they want to see coming up in the list next year or the year after, etc.
This reminds me, just to say a couple more comments about that and some of our other specialties. When we ask people, students at the front end, why did you come to the University of Redlands? We'll get things like reputation, convenience, cost, knowing that I'll get the program done at a certain time. Those are all true. It's interesting when you ask people in exit surveys on their way out, what are some of the top experiences that they most valued. They don't talk about cost, convenience. They talk about classroom interaction. They talk about study abroad. Many of our students have never been abroad until they do a study abroad thing, and so it can really be a life-changing moment. Another one that we really didn't emphasize here is we have 2 centers. We have the Bienta Center for Business Ethics and Society, which some here have been involved with, and we have business ethics woven throughout our curriculum. And it's very meaningful discussions because business ethics is not easy. And so a lot remember those discussions. And finally, we have this spatial GIS. And it just so happens that we are around the corner from the Microsoft or Apple of GIS, Esri, world's leader, 2,700 employees. So we have a very special relationship. We graduated over 300 students that have worked at Esri. MBA students. And so that's another special relationship that often gets noted.
Perfect, thank you. Next question is probably for instructors. In what ways do you keep in touch with your students from the programs?
Well, can I
Go ahead,
first
yeah.
step? Well, I think one pro of our program structure is that we have courses structured for every 8 weeks, 2 months, which gives this packed schedule in class. So we spend 4 hours each week to get to know each other, to get to know the subject in depth. But outside that, I always keep the communication open. So students can email me anytime. My goal is to get back to them within 24 hours or less. As I always tell my students, when I'm teaching, your priority is my priority, and even the dean's email will fall behind. Sorry to admit that. But
in theory, I agree with your priorities.
After that 8 weeks, we still have the grading. We need to have the communication open. But before we separate, I tell the students that I encourage you guys to do the lifelong learning. If there is anything that I can be part of the endeavor for your lifetime learning journey, let me know. So many of my students have come back to me for reference letters, for career advice, and they come to, say, the American Marketing Association meetings where I recommended them to attend. Is that if you are serious in marketing,
Beautiful answer.
I know.
Okay, we're back on.
Okay.
Did you catch most of that?
okay.
She's devoted to this
Yeah.
business. She doesn't answer the dean's emails.
Sorry, don't write
Maybe
that
a
on my-
discussion after the panel. I'll add just a little bit. I think you touched on all the most important points, but to me, I think that the teacher-student relationship, we do create a relationship with our students. I think all of us do, and I've had the same experience. If students need a recommendation letter, it's not a problem. Even if it's 5-10 years later, I have students. Also, we all, adjunct and full-time, have other background that we can bring forward. You mentioned marketing. If a student is interested in a career in marketing, they can use you as a resource to prepare for an interview or even to think forward. I'm the same way. Maybe a student doesn't want to become an attorney, but maybe they want to, do consultations with businesses, and I can provide some background, some soundboarding. I've even had students, where we're friends, and I'll meet them after graduation. We wind up having dinner or something. So to me, it's a very rich relationship that gets created with each professor.
I do want to add to that.
Sure.
Thank you for inspiring me.
Oh, thank you.
So I think one of the most rewarding moments as an instructor, as an educator, is to see your students succeed.
Right.
And they want to then give back to the community where they grow up. So I have seen my students coming back to Redlands to inquire teaching opportunity because they have seen the value. They have personally talking to me, what are the opportunities, what can I develop professionally so that I can give back. I think the relationship can really prosper in many aspects. So we want to let prospective students know is that here our faculty members are all dedicated. We're here to help you grow. We're here to help you gain the value of education in whichever way that we see fit.
Yeah.
Without putting our students on the spot, if I may, maybe if any of them, current or past, could think about a class that they got something particular or an exchange or feedback from a faculty member, anything that might help those watching hear from the student perspective what that dynamic is like.
Well, yeah. I know a lot of the professors, they emphasize that you're being you're not being trained in a specific skill set. You're being educated as a whole in business, and we're trying to develop you into a leader and a critical thinker. And as the dean spoke about ethics earlier, that ethics are mentioned in, I think, about every class that I've had so far. So it's not just about learning how to make a profit or to grow a company. It's also about remembering that you know, if you are the manager, your employees are the most important aspect of that organization. So, for example, you know, the financial emphasis, it's all numbers, it's all math, but at the same time, we're being reminded, you know, the people that work for you and work with you are the most important aspect of this whole thing. So.
I've got two. One is my organizational management professor, James Head, and Eric Larson, which is in the professional development. The reason I received or got my job, one of the reasons was Professor James Head in organizational management says we'd like you and each one of you to put together this book, or this bound book. And I remember thinking, why do I need this? Why? Okay, but he says you never know when the opportunity is going to come up that you need to create something like this. When I showed up to my work or my current job, I didn't bring a resume. I brought a bound book with my resume and other things that I had learned, and I did.
So portfolio.
Exactly. And I remember thinking, oh, here I made 3 for each one of you, and that's what stood me out. Now, Eric Larson in the professional development here, he's the one who coached me to say, when you do go for an interview, you need to put in their mind that you are the one that tomorrow can start. So the depth of knowledge that James and Eric both put into me helped me to get to the position that I have. So the professors never know. Organizational management was really kind of marketing partially, and then the professional development is what helped me to where I'm at now.
Great, great.
Well, I'm still learning.
Right.
I've pulled a lot of stuff from the class that I have taken to help me within my job now. Being able to be better at what I do and more organized, and being able to actually market myself to try to promote from where I'm at now. What I needed to do for my managers.
Great.
Thank you. That actually leads to our next question. Can one of you tell us a story of an experience that will stick with you once you leave Redlands?
Yeah, you know, with my background, military and law enforcement, you know, I've never worked in the civilian sector. So coming in my late 30s, you know, I was nervous. You know, I'm like, I'm going to be the outcast, but everyone was, you know, so welcoming, and you know, my fellow students and the admissions personnel and the faculty were very, very open, and it's just, you know, it's helped me develop and really just change my life for the better. Just the overall experience.
Listen, you're never really going to leave Redlands. Our alumni program.
That actually leads to the next question. If you are an alumni, how do you stay connected with your alumni?
I guess I'll be on the alumni here. I have everyone's numbers. I mean, that's why I was the CEO. So right after we graduated, we all met up and we all kind of connected together. Afterwards, I've reached out to some of the people that I've been in class. We became really close friends. These are people that you're with for 2 years, that when something comes up and you're sick, they're the ones who help you. So you become really close. So I stayed in touch with the school. Today I'm here, and other events and things that happen. So it's a very close camaraderie, and because you're in a cohort, these aren't people that, oh, I wonder who I'm going to be with next class. I wonder if it's the same group of people that go with you.
You know, 50% of our students come through referrals. That somebody has, the Redlands student is important to us from the moment they call to inquire, to the moment they start, to the moment they finish, and the moment they become an alumni, for a lot of reasons. One of them is 50% of our students come through referrals by being recommended or knowing somebody who took the program and did well. So one of the great things that alumni do for us is spread the word about Redlands, and I wonder how many who are watching found out because of somebody who are involved. We also have a mentoring program where alumni can participate in that aspect. We have an alumni board, the university does, and we're actively involved in getting strong representation within the alumni board. And we have both events here with our homecoming, as well as special events that we do at the regional campuses, where we reach out to alumni as guest speakers and so on and so forth.
Perfect, that concludes our questions. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to include? Perfect, well, thank you for our panelists and to our dean, and that's it.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
We'll see you here soon.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good to meet you. All right, take care. Good luck. Thank you.
All right.